and today we are going to be making chocolate chip cookie dough dessert hummus. So let's get started.
That's a mouthful. Dessert hummus? I thought hummus was for like carrots.
It's like more of a dip.
Yeah, it's like a dip. It's sweet, right?
Sweet.
Does it taste like hummus? Hummus? Regular hummus? No. We call it hummus because
There's garbanzo beans.
garbanzo beans are chickpeas. It's the same like starting ingredient, but you can do a lot with the base of beans, that are totally different. Just like, a cake and a cracker and pasta are all made from wheat flour, but they're not the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got? Chocolate chip cookie dough hummus. This is from my friend, Mrs. Crumbs. And don't waste the crumbs. What are our ingredients today?
So the first ingredient is 1 3/4 cup garbanzo beans.
If you can use a can. That's 1 can. Drain it, rinse it, dump them in. We make them, from dry beans. We made a bunch because we're going to do a lot of recipes and some crispy roasted chickpeas today.
The next thing is 1/4 cup cashews.
And those can be salted or unsalted. We have unsalted. If they're salted, you'll reduce this little salt ingredient at the end.
Then you need 1/4 cup maple syrup plus 2 tablespoons maple syrup.
You don't have to bake this recipe, or we're just going to whiz it up and eat. So I would challenge you to try to get as little sweetener as possible, right? We don't need to have too much sweet. We've played with this already, and this is what we like, 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. If you don't measure perfectly, that's okay, right? Because it's not baking. We're just going to whiz it up. And if you whiz it up and you think it's not sweet enough, you can add a little more. If you don't like cashews, what do you think, Leah? Could they use probably a different nut?
I can't tell it.
You can't tell they're cashews. So any kind of plain base nut, like probably walnuts.
Like not almonds, definitely.
Well, almonds might be a little too hard, but walnuts would probably work. What's that coming?
So next is 2 teaspoons vanilla extract.
And that's important. Vanilla makes it taste like a cookie, right? And that's where it's not. This isn't hummus.
The next thing is 3 tablespoons rolled oats. And then we have 1/4 teaspoon salt.
And the recipes is 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon. Why do you think it has a range like that?
Because your cashews could have salt in them. Maybe garbanzo beans would be a little salted, and
yeah, those 2 things. Yeah, canned garbanzo beans might have salt in them. So again, if you're making this, start with the 1/8 teaspoon.
And if you taste it, and you're like, it needs like a little more, just a little more flavor than or something.
Yeah, because now maybe people are thinking that's weird to have salt in dessert. Dessert doesn't. It's not going to be salty, but the purpose of salt is it brings out all the flavors around. So anytime something's a little bland, sometimes it just needs a little salt, even if it's a sweet dessert type thing. But yeah, start with the lower, especially if you know something else in your ingredient list is salted, and then go up, because you can always add, but you can't take it out.
So now we have to whiz it up.
And this is what's this machine? The machine is called On. What does this look like?
This is a food processor, so whiz it up in a food processor.
And yeah, we'll just have to let that run. I don't think I can talk.
So we're waiting for it to become a uniform mixture. I'm going to scrape these oats off the side. Make sure there's no oat chunks, I see a little half a garbanzo bean in here, so we still have to do a little more whizzing.
Right, we want it to get completely creamy. No oats, no nuts, no chunks of bean, right? Maybe do one like do a big circle around, push things toward the blades. Food processors are so fun for like little kids to push the buttons, right? Also easy, very possible for big kids. What if you don't have a food processor? That'd be terrible. I think you could do a recipe like this in a blender, but not one that includes nuts. So today, when we get off the live, we're also going to make chocolate dessert hummus, which mimics Aldi's chocolate brownie hummus. Is so good. And what's the other one? Snickerdoodle.
Both
neither of those have nuts,
do
right?
not have nuts.
Yeah, and the oats. So like the food processor is necessary for the big chunky things, but if you could use one of the other recipes, you could totally do it in a blender. How are we doing?
So now that it's all mixed up, we are going to, it says to fold in your chocolate chip. So you can take a spatula or a some sort of utensil and just fold it in. You gotta be careful I don't cut
Yeah,
with the
the
knife.
blades are getting in the way a little. So Leah, just the order you put the ingredients into the food processor, does that matter for this recipe?
The order doesn't matter, but you just don't want to whiz up the chocolate chips in while you're making the rest. So you whiz up everything, get it into a uniform mixture, how you're gonna want it, and then you
Then
fold in
chocolate chips.
the chocolate chip.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So the vanilla could go in for, anything really could go in any order, except for chocolate chips. And how do we store this once we have this awesome finished product that all the kids are gonna try and love?
You're just gonna store it in a fridge.
In a covered container. How long does it last?
2 weeks.
I wouldn't give it 2 weeks. I'd say about a week. Beans cry out quite loudly when they go bad. You'll smell it. So trust your nose. If you're trying to push it over a week, take a whiff. But this is not a very big batch. How should people eat this cookie dough hummus, Leah?
So you can eat it with crackers, pretzels, fruit,
Like strawberries.
graham crackers,
Yeah. Sometimes we just dip little nuts in there.
nuts, or you can just eat it by the spoonful. It is that good.
Yeah. And I wrote in the description, I'm never a fan of hiding foods or lying about what foods are in something with kids. So that's why we get kids involved. Like, let's see the beans, touch the beans, smell the beans. They don't smell that great cooking, which is a bummer. But as soon as you see this, let me smell this compared to cooked chickpeas. Oh my gosh. It smells really good. And so it's all about just experiencing the food and tasting the food and not being afraid, right? Kids, we don't have to be afraid of food. Take a bite. You eat this all the time, don't you? It's like literally a favorite treat. That's why we're gonna make 2 more batches, because if she makes one, she won't share with her brothers. So the brothers will get some if we make 2 more, right?
I guess. Maybe I would.
I guess. I don't think you could get through 3 in a week. Maybe mom and dad will even get a bite. Oh, awesome. All right, parents, kids, get in that kitchen. Use your time here at home. Well, you're not going to school. You talk about fractions when you do measuring. Talk about why it's not that important that you measure perfectly. But if you make, muffins or bread, it's super important that you measure perfectly. That'd be a great conversation to have. We will do this every day. We'll be back tomorrow with a St. Patrick's Day themed recipe that's super easy to make. And then the next day we have a challenge for everybody out there. So I want you to start thinking about, if you're working in the kitchen, take a picture, because that might help you with the challenge. Right, Leah? Is that all we need? We got the links to the recipes in the description. And we got to make some more food after you eat a snack, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Mrs. Kimball for Kids Cook Real Food. This is Leah. She's 11. All kids can cook from age 18 months to teenagers. Let's get them in the kitchen and cook healthy food together and connect as a family.